welcome to my channel. So, in this episode, we are going to solve this very interesting problem I myself made in order to illustrate my students the concept of transformation of random variables. And this problem is also inspired by one of the classic paradox of probability. So, in this problem, we have two machines here, machine A and machine B. So machine A is both of these machines, they convert clays into tiles, perfect square tiles. Machine A is different from machine B in such a way that if you input the area here, you input a number in this um, box here, and then it will convert this clay into that area. For example, if you input 4, then it will make a clay of area 4. In this case, our unit is inches. So 4 inches squared. So how about for machine B? For machine B, it's the same, but then what you will input is the side. Actually, it's not a radius. Let's just use side for this. Okay. So for example, if you input 2, it will give you a tile of radius, of size 2. Size of side equal to 2 inches. So meaning that it will produce a tile of area equals 4 inches squared. So meaning an input of 4 here is equivalent to an input of 2 here. Now, let's assume that both machine will have the same minimum areas to be produced. This will produce a minimum of 1 square inch in a maximum of 16. So as this machine here, machine B. Now, what if both of these machines suddenly these dials here broke, and instead of that you can only press the enter key, and every time you press the enter key it will randomize uniformly in within the parameter, the maximum, the minimum, and the maximum. So in this case here it will randomize from 1 to 16, while this one it will randomize from 1 to 4, because the maximum size of tile that it will produce is 16. That's 4 by 4. So the question now is, which machine would give me higher revenue if the cost of a tile is given by let's just use, instead of P of A, let's just use C, not to confuse with probability. So C of A equals some constant K times A, which is the area of the tile, and K is a known constant. So you might be wondering, why are they since they are producing the same minimum and the same maximum, why would one machine produce um, a bigger revenue than the other? So by bigger revenue, what do we mean by that? How can we calculate that? Well, it's easy. To calculate for um, the to calculate which one would give us the bigger revenue, all we need to do is calculate the average of both. If both machine will give us the same average, then they will give us the same expected revenue, given the same units will be made for both. Okay, if you make 1,000 tiles here, you also have to make 1,000 tiles in the second machine. Okay, so but that's the thing here. It might be the case that one of these two will have a bigger expectation value or average value, so that machine will produce more revenue. And it's quite counterintuitive, as you can see, as you may actually wonder, because as I've said, this has the same minimum and maximum. Okay, and here our assumption, we have to assume also that the values that input here, the minimum from maximum is uniformly distributed, so as this one here. So the minimum here would be equivalent, the minimum in this case would be equivalent to 1 inch, and the maximum would be 4 inches. So that assume that the randomization will be uniform between 1 to 4. Okay, So first, let's understand this one. What are the probability density functions for each machine? Well, for machine A, the probability density function, let's call that P of machine A. Let's use um, let's use Y here, Y, and okay, P of Y for the random variable A. Okay, let's just capital Y. Okay, that would be equal to a uniform distribution will have this form. This is minus, that is 1 over the maximum. Let's take the maximum as B, capital B, minus the minimum. Okay, here B is 16 and A, capital A is 1. Okay, so how about this one here? Let's call this P or Px, the random variable X. Okay, um, let's just take this as S, no, as our variable name for this random variable X, which represent a side. Or anyway, let's just use S here. Okay, P of S would be equal to 1 over, still, since it's uniformly distributed, 1 over B minus A. So if we plot this one, we would see that, okay, and plot this one here. Um, the value of this is the maximum. Okay, for P of Y, it will be 1 over B minus A. So 16, this is 1 over 15. So the height would be 1 over 15. It's quite small. This is P of Y, the density function for Y. How about for X? X um, would run from 0 to, from 1 to 4. And that's actually 3/4. So it's quite higher. This one, 1 to 4. So this means, okay, this area here is of course 1, and this area here, right here, is, okay, that would be 1. Okay, this will be Px, yeah, Ps of S. Okay, sorry, I have to cut that because I realized that the lighting in the video is so low that I have to start again. So that's why I cut this portion here. I'll just write it again. The density function of this one, P of Y, that would be equal to 1 over the maximum minus the minimum, because we are, no, this is uniformly distributed. And P of S, okay, um, maybe I'll just use X here. X. Okay, this is random variable Y and random variable X. So the density function for X is just equal to, since it is again a uniform, that would be small b minus A, where A is 1 and B is 4. Here, capital A is 1 and capital B is 16. Okay, now we are asked which machine would give a higher revenue if the cost, if this is the cost, K is a constant and A is just the area. Okay, so in order to answer this is equivalent actually to asking which would give me the higher average, the higher mean. Okay, so the machine that will give me a higher average size of tile will actually give me a higher revenue. So all we have to do now is calculate the mean value for each, but here we have a problem. These two are of different spaces. This is in the interval 1 to 4, and this is in the interval 1 to 16. And in fact, um, they're not of the same nature. This is of length, and this is of area. They belong to a different sample space. So what we would do now is we have to express one. We have to transform one into the space of the other, meaning that it's either that we transform A into the space of side, or we transform the side into the space of um, the area. Okay, so to do that, we will just have to use a known theorem. Okay, this is the theorem. And okay, by the way, we can use, okay, I'll just write the theorem first. Given a random variable x, which has a density function of px of x, what is now the density function of p of the random variable y, py given by py of y, such that y is equal to some function of x. This is actually give. Okay, I like to repeat that. Given that x has a density function of p of x, what is now the density function of the random variable y, given that y is equal to f of x? Okay, and the theorem actually, the theorem states this one. This is a major result in probability theory. Py of y is equal to um, px of f inverse of y times the absolute value of d over dy f inverse of y. So in, we just have to find this f inverse of y. Now, this is not the only form, because actually, in order to use this theorem, we have to check what is the nature of the function. Is it invertible? Is it one to one? Is it many to one? Or yeah, is it even invertible? But we don't have to worry with that with the two machines here, because as we can see, I'll use blue for that. Um, our domain, okay, our our function actually takes from the domain of 1 to 4 and takes it. The range of the function is actually 1 to 16. And f of x here, our f of x is actually equal to x squared. Now, although x squared is not 1 to 1, but on these intervals, for the given the domain of 1 to 4 and the range of 1 to 16, f of x is actually, um, we can say that this is, for every value here, there's one corresponding value here. And for every value here, there is only one value that belongs to here. And you may say that, what about 4? It has negative 2. But of course, as we said, we only limit our domain. So we will not be considering the domain that is outside of this. So that our function is actually a bijection. It is a bijective function if given this domain and the range. So we can use this formula directly. Okay, so we'll use that. But what is now f inverse of y? Well, f inverse of y, if this is f of x, so f y is equal to f of x. So f inverse of y is just equal to square root of y. And why is that? Well, it's easy to check that. For example, what is f of 2? This is 4. So to get back to 2, of course, f inverse of 4 would now be equal to the positive square root of 4, which is 2. Again, we exclude the negative because it does not belong in this domain. Okay? So now we have this. And what is p of x of f of inverse of y? What is p of x? This is that 1 over b minus a. There's no y here, so clearly using this function, our p of y in the area would be equal to this, which is just equal to 1 over b minus a times t over dy, absolute value of that, of if an f inverse of y. So this is square root of y. And this would just give us, this is 1 half times, this is negative, raised y, negative y raised to negative 1 half. So that would be equal to 1 over 2 times b minus a times square root of y. Okay, so we now have our distribution in y. And as you can see, this distribution is it's not even uniform, meaning that the distribution on A is uniform in, let's call that A space. The distribution of the tiles made from machine A in A space is uniform, whereas the distribution of the tiles made from machine B in A space is not uniform. It is given by this one. Okay? And if we plot that, it's actually, it would look like this. Okay? It would yeah, it would be higher here because we know that F, okay, somehow, okay, quite higher here. So let's just estimate that here. That would be the plot of the Fy of y, Py of y. Um, okay, it's now getting confusing because I use y with this one. I should not be using y, but um, maybe I just use a different y. Okay, hence I use y prime here. Okay, now I remember. Why is that y prime? We'll just use y prime here. Okay, not to be confused with this one. Okay, so again, to know which one would give me a greater revenue, I would have to know which one would give me a greater average or expectation value. Okay, let's calculate the expectation value of y prime. That would now be equal to the integral of y of p of y prime, this is y prime, dy prime, from minimum to maximum. So this would be from a to b. And this is just equal to, since this is constant, so 1 over b minus a times the integral of y prime dy from a to b, which would give me y prime over 2. So that would be 1 over b minus a times b squared minus a squared. And since this is b minus a, b plus a, you can factor that one out as b minus a times b plus a. Okay, there's over 2 here because y squared over 2. You will get now this final formula. Okay, the expectation value for that is a plus b over 2, which is actually, we don't even need to go to the integration. For a uniform distribution, the mean value is just the minimum plus the maximum over 2. And in this case, you can calculate that the average value for machine A, that would be 1 plus 16 divided by 2, so the 17 divided by 2, this is actually equal to 8.5. I'll just write, okay, I think it's not, okay, I'll write it here. It's just 8.5. We will not be interested actually with the actual value. Okay, we want to answer this question in all possible values for A and B. That's what we sought. But that's what we're seeking. Now, how about the expectation value of Y? This one here. Okay, that would just be again, okay, this is a constant. So 1 over 2 times B minus A times the integral of, okay, Y over square root of y, that would be square root of y dy. Now, what will now be our limit? Our limit now is clearly from a squared, small a squared, to b squared. That will be our limit. Okay, because we are now in the y space. And this is just equal to, this is over 3 halves, so 2 will cancel. So what's left is over 3. This is, okay, we now have 1 over 3 times b minus a, and then you have y to the 3 halves, so b squared raised to the 3 halves, so this is b cubed. This would be b cubed minus a cubed. And then this can be factored out as 1 over 3 times b minus a. This is b minus a times uh, a squared plus ab plus b squared. This is a known factoring, a known factoring of b cubed minus a cubed. And this will cancel out so that our e of y will just be equal to a squared plus ab plus b squared over 3. Now, for since our a is 1 and our b is 4, that would just be 1 plus 1 times 4 is 4, that's 5, plus b squared, that's 16. 16 plus 5 is 21 over 3. This would be equal to actually 7. Now, clearly here, machine A would give me a greater revenue. Okay? We're actually settled if this is our value. But I want to generalize this. I want to give this a I want actually um, uh, to solve for whatever value of A and B. Can we be sure? Because maybe for some value of A and B, for some yeah combination of capital A and capital B and small b, maybe that machine B will give us a greater revenue. Okay? So what we are going to do is that we compare this to this. The question now is that A plus B over 2, is it always greater than this? Now, let's see, since A is just A squared, because A corresponds to A squared, clearly, the minimum, the maximum, and B here, capital B, is small b squared. So that we want to ask the question, we are actually asking the question, A squared plus B squared over 2, which is just this one, capital A plus B. Okay, what is this? What is the equality? What is the inequality compared to A cubed, A squared plus AB plus B squared over 3? Okay, to start with, let's multiply this by the GCD. That would be times 6, both sides. This will give us 3A squared plus B squared. And this will give us 2 times A squared plus AB plus B squared. Okay, here, okay, I'll just put that one there, meaning that we still do not know the inequality for that. But we can actually do some, we can apply some algebraic manipulation here. Okay, notice that we have A squared plus B squared here. And we have here, okay, we can divide this by 2 times A squared plus B squared plus A squared plus B squared. Okay? And this one, we can separate 2 times A squared plus B squared plus 2AB. Okay. Now, clearly, this one will cancel. Okay? What is left is now A squared. Okay? Okay. Let's continue it here. What is left now is that we have A, okay, I'll use it black. A squared plus B squared. Is it less than or greater than 2AB? Okay? So, is it, okay, because actually, as you can see, we know that B squared, okay, is greater than AB. Remember our condition here. We have A is less than B but greater than 0. This is our condition. So clearly here, B squared is greater than A squared. But AB is greater than AB is greater than A squared but less than B squared. Here, we know that we are clear that this, since AB is greater than A squared, then it is clear to us that 2AB is greater than A squared. And we know that B squared is greater than AB, but we do not know if AB is still less than B squared. This is now quite a problem. Okay, because we know that this one is what we are certain is that without B, the inequality would open here, meaning that A squared is clearly less than 2AB. But we put B here. Okay, if this is only AB, then we are certain since AB is in the middle of A squared and B squared. But I think okay, okay, how do we solve this? Yeah, I did not actually solve this before this. What will be the trick? How can we know? Okay. I think we can do this one. A squared plus B squared minus 2AB. Okay. And then we have 0 on this side here. That one. Now, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is, okay, this is good. We can solve this now. Okay, I'm surprised. This is a perfect square, right? This is a perfect square. In fact, that would be just equal to A minus B squared. 0. So that in order for this to be true, since B is greater than A, then this must be always, this is a perfect square, this must always be greater than, okay, or equal to 0 with it's only equal if B is equal to A. So here, what we have actually proven is that for all cases, machine A, for any value in a combination of small a, small b, and capital A and capital B, such that, again, I'll write it here, capital A is equal to A squared, small a squared, and B is B squared. Okay, for any combination such that this is followed, we are sure that machine A will produce more revenue than machine B, given that given that the same number of tiles are made from each machine. Okay, and okay, that's it. Now, what are the Borel sets here? If we may want to solve for the Borel sigma, the Borel sigma algebra of the tiles. Well, uh, okay, maybe this is answer. What is the topology of the tiles from A and B? Well, the topology of the tiles from machine A are the intervals in R1. That would be the intervals in R1. While for machine B, still that would be the intervals in R1. But what if instead of making a perfect square, it will make a rectangle and randomize this and that? Now, the topology of the tiles will differ because the topology of the machine from B is still the intervals in R1, but the topology of the machines, I mean of the tiles from machine A would be the uh, open balls in R2. The balls and the intervals in R2. Okay, the open balls in R2. So both I mean they will now have a different topology. In fact, the topology of the square tiles is not the same with the topology of the rectangular tiles. Okay, um, in this case. So yeah, I think I'll just include the topology because in my the one that I asked in my class was actually give the topological space formed by the tiles. Okay, I mean at least what describe the topology, because the topological space formed by the topology and the sample space would actually give us the Borel sigma algebra. Uh, the Borel sigma algebra is constructed from a topological space. Okay, if we have a topological, okay, if sigma, I mean omega and some collection of subsets, let's say F, okay? If F is a topology, so meaning this is a topological space, then um, the sigma algebra generated by this F here would be would be the Borel sigma algebra. Okay, so that's why I included it here. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you like this problem. If you have not subscribed, click the subscribe button. Okay, for more videos, we'll have more problems to solve.